Welcome to the Karen Kenney Show. Hey, you guys, welcome to the Karen Kenney Show. I'm wicked excited to be here with you today. And today just happens to be, first of all, this is the first time I've recorded a show at night in like a gazillion years. So you can tell like the quality and the light in this room and stuff is a little different because it's like nighttime and it's getting dark at like 4:30 now. Like whatever, Like I just no. Okay, and we're back. But today happens to also be December 1st. And I love it. I just love it. I know I'm not alone because my friend Emmeline, she loves it too. When a new month begins on a Monday, it just like gives me like sweet satisfaction. It's like I'm just such a weirdo. Like to me, the week starts. I know technically, like my sweetie is the week starts on Sunday. I'm like, no, to me, the week starts on Monday. So when a new month begins on a Monday, it makes me super duper happy. But I was thinking about December because a lot of people roll through this month in like really different ways. There are people that are just like, hey, I'm in holiday mode. I'm slowing everything down. I don't want to do too much. Don't ask me to put too much on my calendar. I'm not going to book too much. I'm not interested in hustling and blah, 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 blah. There are other people that are like, last month of the year, last month of Q4, let's go. We got to hustle. We got to do sales and make money and da, 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 capitalism, colonialism, right? Like, let's just, all the people make all the money, like everything, right? And I kind of look at December, and especially this year, and I'm going to tell you why. I kind of look at December as like prep for January. And what I mean by that is this is a month when I really start to like go a little quiet, go within, start to have a more internal experience, and start to think about like, what do I want to create in 2026? Who do I want to be? What am I envisioning or dreaming or visualizing? If I'm going to be doing a collaboration, who do I want to do it with? What's it going to look like? What's the vibe and the energy and the feel of the year? Now, I know life has its own plans, right? There's that old saying, you want to make a God laugh, like, tell him your plans. But I do believe in making plans. I just don't believe in making them by myself. And what I mean by that, and of course, in Miracles, we say this thing is like a healed mind does not plan. It doesn't mean you don't make a plan. It just means you don't make it all on your own from your ego, from this place of scarcity and fear and hustle and competition and weirdness, right? No, like you tap into the inner teacher, you tap into the divine intelligence, and you kind of see like, what do I want to create? And if you saw the title of this episode, Take Your Habits for a Test Drive, December is a fantastic month to do this. So let's kind of dive into this a little bit, and then I'll give you a couple of examples and stories, right? So a lot of times, January, like people are like starting to think about like, oh, New Year's is coming. It's going to be new year, new you, new year, new me. I'm going to like come out of this like balls to the wall. I'm going to like come out of this shoot like boom, like a rocket, right? Like I'm going to go into January. And I just always start laughing because what ends up happening is I kind of call January like jazzed up January. Oh my God, jazzed up January because everybody's got like ants in their pants and they're all jazzed up and they're going to start going to the gym and they're going to start eating right and they're going to stop drinking alcohol. They're going to stop whatever it is. They're all going to start doing it. Right. But you know what happens? Jazzed up January very quickly turns it into fuck it February. Because they realize that all these plans, all these things they were going to do. Look. I used to work at Planet Fitness like way back in the day when I first moved from California to New Hampshire, right? I was a personal trainer. And so I worked at the Planet Fitness in Rochester and Dover and New Hampshire. And you would just see like the first 3 weeks, the first three to like, I would even give people like the first 3 to 4 to 5 weeks. People were like, yeah, the gym would be so busy. And I used to open the gym. So like I would be there at like 4:30 in the morning where gym opened at 5. And you would just see everybody all gung ho. But by like February, it was like back to normal numbers and crickets because people didn't have any momentum. They didn't build anything, right? They just tried to like throw themselves like, head first, like into January, thinking that they were somehow going to be different, right? That these patterns and habits that they had created the whole year before that, it wasn't going to continue in January. They were trying to just do it by willpower alone, right? Like, yeah, I'm just going to stop smoking, stop drinking, start doing this, not doing that, whatever. Okay. So people get all amped up about January, but then there's like this slow fizzle out, and 2026 can be different. And this is why I'm so glad that I'm doing this episode the first week of December, because this is a chance for you to practice who you want to be, how you want to be, how you want the year to look in 2026. I friggin' love, and I might do a whole episode in a few weeks about this, but I really love having a new year and a new slate to kind of like wipe the slate clean and like start fresh. But here's one of the things. Okay, so story time. Buckle up. Buckle up for safety. So if you know who Sean T is, right? Just double amen hands if you know who Sean T is, right? Like I love Sean T. I'm going to tell you a little bit about who he is, but Sean T is like, I don't know. I just think of him as a worldwide phenomenon. He's a he's a fitness instructor, right? He's like famous online, like whatever. And way back in the day, right? I started following him on a program called Beachbody. Beachbody is no longer Beachbody. It's now just called Body with like a little I, like body, right? But Sean T is one of like Tony Horton, P90X, right? There's like so many programs, Insanity Max 30, Dig Deeper. Like there's all these different programs, right? So Sean T is leads these workouts. And I belong to the gym like I've belonged to the gym like a gazillion years. And sometimes I'm just like, yeah, I don't want to go to the gym. I don't like I want to like especially in the winter, I'm like I'm gonna try and like do some new stuff at home. Like I have different goals and stuff and I have weights and stuff in my basement and I'm like I just want to change it up. I was feeling like I wanted to do something new. And really thinking about like, okay, 2026 is coming. Um, and Sean T just released like a new workout program called Dig In, and it's like a combination of strength training, like with weights, and also a program of his called Insanity, which is all about like, using your own body strength, cardio, fitness, which I'm trying to prep for the warmer months when I like to run outside. My sweetie runs all year round outside. I'm like, yeah, no, I only like to run when it's like, relatively like decent weather and really hot. Like I love running in the summer. And I'm like, I want to come out of the chute a little stronger. Cardiovascular, hit workouts, whatever. So Sean is like combined this in this new workout. Now it's pretty intense, right? You gotta commit to this thing and like you're gonna do it for this number of days, there's this many phases. And I'm like, okay, I want to hit the ground running in January. So I'm going to use December as my trial run. And you can apply this to so many things, but let me explain what I mean. When you're all like in your brain, like, oh yeah, jazzed up January, I'm gonna come out and I'm just gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna put it on my schedule, I'm gonna make it happen. And then you realize, no, I'm not. Then you realize, oh no, there's my squirrely little brain getting in my way again. There's my like, I don't feel like it, right? That inner critic, right? Like, who are you to think that you can do this? Or you hear all those excuses, I'm too tired, I'm too lazy, or whatever. One of the great things that December is good for, it's the perfect month for practicing taking these habits that you want to create, taking these sucker for like a trial run. And this way, it's going to help you figure out, first of all, how you're going to respond and how you're going to react when things get tough. So let's say that there's a setback. Let's just say that there's a screw up with your schedule. Let's just say that something beyond your control happens. Like, who are you going to be? Like, how are you going to show up for that? And rather than going into January with these big ideas and these big plans and these big hopes and these big visions, and then you find yourself like slipping up, screwing up, not keeping your word to yourself. And then by February, you've like blown it and you're like, fuck it, I'm not going to do it. And here we are again. And then you stop beating yourself up. However you negatively talk to yourself. You're lazy, you're stupid, you never keep your word, you blah, 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 blah. December is the perfect time to work out those kinks, right? To really get to figure out like, okay, so this is my plan. You can treat December like early January. And yeah, I already know, like December, Christmas, Hanukkah, like all these holidays are like built in. So there's gonna be like, and let's just say fitness was your thing, right? So there's gonna be like, I'm busy, or I can't get to the gym today, or I can't do that, or I can't do this. And you get to practice how you're going to show up and how you're going to respond and what you can do instead. So rather than just like throwing your hands up and saying, I already blew it, I might as well just eat the whole cake, or I didn't go to the gym today, da da da. There's different ways of like, like setting things up. And this is a chance for you to practice and to take your new habits, these new habits you want to cultivate and create, right? To take them for a test drive. So working out is just like one of them. Let's just say your thing is like writing. So for me, one of the things that I'm doing is I'm doing a little sample day of like 3 days of writing where like just hear me out, right? Like 3 days of writing where you try to write 500 words a day, because there's a thing that I'm going to be doing in January where I might be, possibly, I might just do it on my own. I don't know, but there's a group that I might be joining. And it's kind of like I would just be like a silent person in the group, but meaning where they're setting it up where you try to write 500 words a day for January. So that's like 250 words is about a page. So you'd be trying to write about 60 pages, right, in January for whatever you're working on, a novel, a book, a memoir, a self-help, whatever you're working on, right? And so now in December, we get to have a little test run, right? A little trial run to see how it feels over these 3 days, to see like, okay, how does it feel to like sit my ass down and like do this like consecutively and make a commitment to myself and like whatever. So I'm just throwing out examples that, if working out isn't your thing, or you already have that habit locked in, right? Maybe it's something else, something creative. Maybe you're somebody who wants to draw every day or paint every day or practice your guitar or play music or whatever, write poetry, like whatever your bag is, right? Maybe now in December, you can start to get creating a habit so that by the time January comes around, you're already in the flow of it, man. You already have a little momentum. You already have a little, you've built some momentum and you've set the tempo, you've set the pace. And you're starting to build that habitual muscle. You're starting to build it and stack it and add on to it so that when the new year comes, you go into it. You've worked out the kinks. You've worked out the flaws. You've worked out your own kooky thinking, how you get in your own way and you self-sabotage, right? Let me give you another example. These books just happen to be sitting on my desk. So I have a few books here, right? And they're part of my daily spiritual reading. So I read, first of all, I read every night before bed. I've been doing that, I don't know how long, right? But I always read. I get in bed and I read. And that's usually how I fall asleep, right? As I start to fall asleep. So I read every single day a lot, but I also start my day with my DSP, my daily spiritual practice. But part of that is daily spiritual reading. So I have several books. Of course, I got A Course in Miracles and like a few others, A Daily Stoic, etc. And I normally was reading them downstairs, these books. I brought them upstairs because I already know in January, I want to do things differently. I want to get my workout in. I want to get my stuff done. I want to come up. I want to do my daily reading. And then I want to like write. Okay. So I'm just like starting to figure this out. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to bring these books upstairs instead of downstairs. I brought them upstairs. I put them on my desk. And now I've missed, not A Course in Miracles. That always gets done. But I've missed doing my daily spiritual reading. I'm only going to end up missing one day because I'm going to do it as soon as I'm done with this podcast. I'm going to read my 2 days and catch up. But the reason why I'm telling you this is because I'm out of the habit. I broke my momentum. I hadn't missed a day in I don't know how long because I had a routine. I had a rhythm, right? But now that I brought them upstairs, I broke the flow. And so I'm not in the habit yet of like, oh yeah, I read these upstairs now. So now they're on my desk and now I saw them and I'm like, okay, as soon as I'm done this, I'm going to do it. But I'm going to tell you this, by the time probably in a few more days, I will have built that muscle back up. It's just geographically different, right? The habit muscle is already built. I just have to get out of that little glitch that I had because I was like, oh yeah, I usually have them downstairs first thing in the morning. I see them. but now they're upstairs. So these are the things I'm talking about where we can use December to work out like a few kinks and start to plan. So don't wait until like I do a New Year's Eve ritual. I've talked about this before on the podcast. And and that's when I really like map out. It's like a treasure map, right? It's kind of like having a playground with a lot of different like fun, like a slide and some swings. And I'm like, ooh, what do I want to do in 2026 or whatever the new year is, right? But this is like laying the foundation for the new year. This is when you're starting to get the plot of soil ready. This is when you're starting to pick the flowers and the veggies and what you want to plant. This is when we start to think about like long term, like what do I want to harvest? Like what do I want the bounty of this to be? Right? And this is when we get to use this as a testing ground so that we can use this month December, right? Instead of jazzed up January, right? Like you can truly roll into jazzed up January and you won't experience fuck it February because you're going to do discover December. Like we're going to use December to discover, right? Like, okay, when I'm tired, this is what I tend to do. This is my plan. This is what I'm thinking. I'm going to start to play with these things. I'm going to start to lay that foundation. Like I said, get a little momentum, start to set the pace and set the tempo. Because why not go into the new year feeling really grounded, feeling really like, determined. I always say the 5 Ds of a DSP, of a daily spiritual practice, is daily dedication, determination, discipline, and devotion. So we move into the new year with these things already in place. And like I said, you get to fuck up now. You get to like make mistakes now. You get to find your groove now so that when January hits, you're like, I've got this. I've already built some momentum. I already have a little bit of mojo behind me. I'm already moving in that direction, right? So like I said, whether it's physical work, whether it's mental work, whether it's emotional work, whether it's spiritual work or goals or whatever, right now is when you get to give it a go, and practice it a little bit. And so here's like the action steps, right? The regular action steps always stand, which is if you ever want to work together, right? If you ever want to find out what I'm up to, if you want to get on my email list, all that is at KarenKenney.com. That is like a standing action step for you to take, right? To go deeper into this work. If you want to do one-to-one mentoring, if you want to join the Nest, my spiritual community and group, all that you can find KarenKenney.com. But some action steps for this podcast in particular, this episode, is I just want you to pick one new habit. One thing that you've been thinking about, dreaming about, wanting to, right? Like begin. Whether it's something you want to change or transform or start or stop or whatever the thing is. It could be like, I want to stop drinking. I want to start, walking every day, whatever it is. I want to get better at like writing thank you cards. I want to get better at having gratitude, looking for, as we say in A Course in Miracles, the good, the beautiful, and the holy, right? So you're just going to pick a new habit. And then you're going to start to practice it. And then you're going to start to notice the kinks. You're going to notice the places where you get in your own way or where you kind of like make mistakes or mess it up. And I want this, like I say in yoga so often, right? Like falling out of the pose. If let's say you're trying to balance and you're trying to do something like tree posture, right? The asana, the pose, the posture. Trying to stand on one leg and you fall out. And I see people sometimes get so frustrated. And I can already if they had like a thought bubble above their head, I could like just see the words where they're beating themselves up. And I always have to remind people, hey, look, falling out of the pose is part of the practice. This isn't a perfect. We don't call this a perfect. We call it a practice. We're practicing way more than the postures, of course. But I can see how frustrated people get. And I say, hey, this is part of the practice. So in December, like you screwing up or forgetting, because it's just like with the books, right? Like it's not a habit yet. It's like, okay, this is something I want to keep an eye on. And you don't have to beat yourself up and you don't have to be mean to yourself. And you just get to you get to figure some stuff out before you roll into, right, 2026 or whenever you're listening to this, whatever new year. And this is the time when, like I said, we're laying the groundwork for it. This is when we get to do all the weird stuff and bump up against our bullshit and realize that, I'm a little bit lazier than I thought I was, or whatever the thing is, right? And I use those words. Like that's one of the things is that I have a certain amount of irreverence to me, meaning I do have things that are very like sacred and whatever, but I also like can laugh at myself. Like when I say like, "Oh, I guess you're a little lazy." That's not me being mean to myself. That's me being fucking honest with myself. I'm not a particularly lazy person, but I'm just saying, right? There are times when we're just like, meh, whiny, like I don't feel like it. Meh. Doesn't matter. I often will say to myself, it doesn't matter that you don't feel like it. You made a commitment, whether it's to myself or to somebody else or to an animal or a person or a cause, but like you made a commitment. Your word matters to you, right? So we got to keep an eye on ourselves because the ego mind can be incredibly sneaky. But what a perfect opportunity, right? So like don't wait until the end of the month to think about like, oh yeah, I'm going to start January 1. Will you though? Will you? Will you? Maybe you will, but then it's so easy when you self-sabotage, you'll to the brain does this thing where it's like, ah, fuck it. I already blew it. Forget about it. It's like, no, let's do that now in December. When the spirit is high for a lot of people, I know it's also the holidays are always difficult, especially if you're grieving, especially if your family's a little, dysfunctional or a lot dysfunctional or whatever. I know that December can be a tough month for some people. And I also want to say like in that's perfect training ground. I'm not being mean when I say this, but it's so easy to come up with 1,000 excuses in December for why you can't do something, whether it's the holidays or you're busy or you're feeling blue or you don't want to do it or you just don't, it's cold outside, blah, 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 right? So this is a chance to kind of like set your intention, start to visualize, right? So that's part of it. The action steps. Let's do this. Start to visualize who and how you really want to be in 2026, not who you are now. Like, I want you to really see yourself. Like, sit down, find a quiet place, close your eyes, deepen your breath, run a movie in your mind. See how and who you want to be. What are you saying? What are you doing? How are you feeling? What are you thinking? What are you creating? See it as if it is already done, right? And then you think, okay, well, what are the kind of things that I would need to do to have that be true, to have that come true, right? You pick your habits, you pick your thought systems, love or fear. And then you're like, okay, I'm going to pick just one. Just start with one. You can habit stack later, but just pick one new habit. Start to practice it in December. Notice the kinks, notice where you get in your own way, all that stuff. Start to build some momentum, build that muscle, that new habitual muscle, right? And then set the tempo, set the pace, lay the groundwork, lay the foundation for a jazzed up January, right? And if you pick something in particular that you're a little like, sometimes we want to tell one other person, we want to have accountability. So if you just want to shoot me a little message or a little email and say, hey, this is what I'm discovering in December. This is what I'm going to practice in December. So I'm ready for jazzed up January. You know what I mean? And I would just be so honored if you decided to share with me what you're up to. I got a few things and I already have a lot of habits in place. So I can habit stack pretty easily. And I have things I've been doing for 30 years. So those are just like a part of my identity. They're just what I do. It's not like I don't even have to think about those things anymore. They just happen. But sometimes there's new things when you're like, okay, I have some goals. I have some dreams. There's some things I want to accomplish. And right now, I can tell you right now that there's like 3 new things that I'm practicing, and not new, but new ways of doing them. That's a better way of saying it, right? So I would love to hear what yours are. And just thank you so much for tuning in. I super duper appreciate you. As always, what do I always say? Wherever you go in December and beyond, right? May you leave the animals, the people, the place, the environment, and yourself better than how you found it. Wherever you go, may you and your energy and your presence and your love be a blessing. Bye.